John Doe says for $5, Chato saw the Frasier reboot. They took your writing advice. There's even a furniture-based joke in the second episode. No destructive woke so far. Yeah, I know that Chato, you've seen at least some of it, and Script, you've seen all of the Frasier reboot. What's your thoughts on the episodes? Can we have your thoughts before we move into Loki and then the Disney stuff after that?
Sure. Frasier it holds on to what made Frasier Frasier. I actually wrote a little bit about it on my Patreon yesterday. James Burrows, the man who pretty much directed all of Cheers and also kind of headlined the original Frasier, is back to set up this one, and I think he kept the first two episodes on course. I enjoyed them what they were. They actually have some jokes. It's not a joke a minute, as some people would like, but it also has some heart to it as well, and it is very respectful of the characters. They're not humiliating Frasier in the way that is unfamiliar to how Frasier normally gets humiliated. And I think it's a good direction so far. I'm looking forward to the third episode, and hopefully it doesn't go off the rails.
All right, yeah, cool. And Paul, how about you? What's your thoughts on it so far?
First of all, I think it pays tribute to the power of Kelsey Grammer's star qualities and goodwill on screen. You really do like him, and that's a very big part of the success of any show, is that you've got to like the characters. I honestly so far like his nephew way better, Niles's kid, over his son. I think son, whatever the relationship he has with him, is kind of cheap and brutalistic. It's not obvious, and obvious isn't the right word, but I think that could have been done. That's the worst part of it for me so far. Yeah, I agree with Script Doctor. It feels like a Frasier script. Frasier scripts are always something that when some young writer approached me and I said, either do Golden Girls or Frasier scripts, because they have mechanical elements to it. Frasier, you just, pull out a Sotheby's, guide to the latest things that are being sold there. And then you could write a show around antiques. And Golden Girls is just old women talking really dirty. So you got lots of stuff with that. And yeah, so it really felt like Frasier. I think there's exposition at the beginning that was not necessary about his son, failing out of Harvard and things like that. But it was, it was well handled. That kind of stuff you can find out, when the characters actually get together and talk about it. It's not necessary to set it up. James Burrows' touch is there. It looks like a show. It looks like a sitcom. I was a bit annoyed at the amount of laugh track. I think they could have toned that right down. I found it obnoxious.
Was the laughter earned, or was it like obviously contrived? Like they were laughing, but it wasn't even remotely funny.
Well, again, the problem with the laugh track is that joke is funny. That was earned. That joke's not funny. Why is there a laugh? I mean, so it's a beauty. A laugh track is in the ear of the beholder, I guess. If something is genuinely funny, then you're laughing with the laugh track. So you can really tell at the very end, the last few seasons of The Big Bang Theory, where it's like every line, like someone had to cut off the thumb of that guy who was running the laugh track machine.
Well, they had to keep hitting it because they no longer were funny. They hadn't been funny. Yeah, they hadn't been funny since season 4 in Big Bang Theory, and the reason why is because they were just too mean to each other. It went from being, a bunch of geeks struggling with the outside world with one female, love interest.
You actually hit the nose right on, or the nail on the nose right there. That's what the problem was. It wasn't so much they were mean to each other. It was the fact that you have a bunch of geeks who now have fucking girlfriends. That's the fucking problem. Yeah. Where normally that should be the whole fucking show, is these guys can't figure out how to get girlfriends.
Well, let's not get into too much of a tangent there. But I mean,
no, but I hate that show because it had a great premise to begin with, and then they fucked it up.
And I will mention again, I think I mentioned before, the writing skyrocketed when they introduced the girlfriend. So from a network exec perspective, they did the right thing. From a fan of the show perspective, I think they did the wrong thing. So,
well, Penny was fine. It was getting all of them a girlfriend. That was the problem.
No, but that's when the show skyrocketed in ratings. I'm not.
This is true. Can't be argued.
Wait, at the same time, but okay. So at the same time, they introduced all the
chicks. They made friends. That's why.
Well, sure, but no. What they did is they changed the entire show. It became the chicks leading the guys around by the nose.
Yep.
The subservient geek to the woman. That's what that became.
So you lost great.
So you drove a female audience to what was a pretty well balanced, or male centric show, depending upon your perspective.
I'm not arguing with you.
Yeah, and so while it did have commercial success in the form of generating commercials, right now it's entirely unwatchable after season.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm in complete agreement with you. I mean, I remember the one really amazing joke where who's the astronomer?
Koothrappali.
No, not Koothrappali.
He's the astrophysicist.
Oh yes. So the guy who
he's talking about Tyson or whatever.
The guy who designed the
engineer Howard.
The engineer
Howard.
Howard.
Oh,
Howard.
He designed the other character.
He designed the rover, the Mars rover.
Yeah, Howard.
And to pick up a girl, he said, would you like to operate the Mars rover?
Oh, he didn't design it. He was merely there controlling the camera, and he abused it.
Oh, okay. Anyways, I thought, that's the kind of thing, picking up a girl, promising that they can drive the Mars rover.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
See, that was where the show.
We lost those kinds of jokes. Anyways, back to Frasier. Just finishing it off. I believe I completely agree with Script that this really does feel like a proper Frasier, and I was kind of impressed. So
now you guys are going to have to make me go watch the original show. I never got into it so much.
It's amazing.
Episodes, but
good. I mean, the original show for Frasier, it captured the spirit of that character within the Cheers universe, essentially.
He was always like one of my least favorite characters on Cheers, though. That was the problem.
True,
but that may be. But the Frasier series, it's a.
And I get it. Everybody liked it. I watched a few episodes. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just like, it was like of all the characters on Cheers, they could have done a spinoff. To me, like that was the least. But I understand why they did it.
And well, again, TV is all about what is called the Q score, is how much the audience loves the character. And Kelsey Grammer has a very high Q score. So that is enough to bring an audience in. I'm trying to think of another one with a very high. James Garner had it.
Michael Dorn had it for Star Trek. They brought him from Next Gen to Deep Space Nine.
Yeah,
and
I wouldn't be surprised.
It definitely increased ratings for Deep Space Nine as a result.
one of the people with the highest rating was Urich. What was the first guy's? What is his first name? Urich.
Bob Urich?
No. He was in all sorts of detective shows. Anyways, he had in my era, had the highest Q score. Anyway, so yeah, I was quite surprised. It was way better than the trailer. The trailer was horrific, but they might actually pull this off.
Oh yeah, no, the audience is saying Robert Urich.
Robert, what did you say? Bob?
I said Bob. Sorry.
Robert.
Every time I think of Robert, I always think of Bob.
I have no idea who that is.
See, we're talking TV there, Andre.
Yeah.
Network TV. So yeah, I think Kelsey Grammer really pulled this off.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like his son. What do you think of his son?
That might change in the second. If you see the second episode, that might change.
Okay.
I will say there's a nice callback to what Frasier did with. I'm not going to go any further than that. There's just a very nice callback.
What did you think of the nephew? Is he in the second show?
Yes, David is there. I think he's clever. I'm a little disappointed they made him far more intellectual because the nightmare that Niles had in the previous series was that he was going to be too much like a Moon, an obnoxious, drunk British person.
Oh.
So,
yeah,
I'm curious to see if there's going to be like if he starts drinking, he will turn that direction because that would be very funny.
Okay. This is the nephew you're talking about.
Yes, this is the nephew because if you remember Daphne's brothers, they were all kind of criminals and alcoholics.
Right.
And if I'm in the writer's room there, I'm like, you got to get this kid drunk. We got to see how he behaves and how that could actually horrify Frasier. Because David Hyde Pierce and, oh my God, I'm spacing on the name who played Daphne. But they're not returning. They've expressed no desire to return.
And what about Niles? I guess he's not.
That's David Hyde. That's David Hyde Pierce. He doesn't want to come.
And honestly,
that is unfortunate.
It's unfortunate, but it's logical because then it won't be a different show. It's got to be an adjacent Frasier show, or it's not going to work.
No, I disagree with that. I mean, just look at Picard. They used the exact same reasoning. This was Picard and not another season of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
I think that
and it failed miserably because of it, right up until season 3, when it became the Next Generation reunion, which it should have been all the time, and that's when fans loved it. I think,
but that's a little different because Frasier's supposed to be his life outside of Cheers. And now what they're doing here is they're doing Frasier's life outside of Seattle. And what made the first Frasier successful is that it wasn't being too dependent on Cheers. They're trying to have fun with the characters and relationships. Picard failed because they weren't having any fun. It was dark, dour, and depressing. Frasier, I think I'm hoping the success for this one is the fact that he's in this another stage of his life where Frasier is basically a senior citizen. He is in the position where his father was when he reunited with his father in the first season. And I think there's no reason for having cameos from the previous series, whether it be previous Frasier and, of course, Cheers, popping in. But I don't think they should be as heavily involved because that takes away from the adventure that's focused around the Frasier character.
Honestly, I think this is a better challenge and opens up the Frasier universe better. That's my thought.
Mm-hmm.
This clip was taken from Midnight's Edge in the Morning, which streams live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time on the Midnight's Edge main channel. There, you can send in your live questions and comments before clips and full stream replays are uploaded to Midnight's Edge live archives. We are also on Twitter, Rumble, Odyssey, and Facebook, so smash that like, help share, subscribe, and join us.